September 17, 1994 was the first year of the tunnel walk, and it has been going on for 3 decades later.
I was there, but you know, it was a blur. It was all a dream.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Here's a message for parents. Show your child that education is important in your home. I'm Tim Royers, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Set aside a special area where your child can work on school assignments. Encourage your child to become more responsible by setting personal educational goals. And send your child to school well-fed and rested. Working together, parents and teachers can help every child reach their full potential.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Alcohol has strained our relationship. Drinking too much can cause harm to friends, family members, and loved ones. By drinking less, we will save our relationship. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Live from the heart of Lincoln, America. Welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Well, good morning, everybody. This is Mike with Next 24. We're with a show called What's Next. Welcome to another inspiring episode here on 93.7 The Ticket. Sherry, good morning. How are you?
I'm good, Mike. How are you?
I'm excited today. We've got 2 special guests from the Open Door Mission. We got Steve Frazee, Steve Frazee, and Joel Casera, and we'll be diving into their personal journeys, challenge, success stories, and their roles at the Open Door Mission. So let's get started. Sherry, what's our tradition for today?
Our tradition, as usual, Mike, is got our little daily affirmations.
That's right.
So what we do is we have everybody just pick out here and read what your daily affirmation is. If you get a blank one, you have to make one up. So you better hope you get one that is saying something. And get ready, Ben, because you're going to pick 2.
No whammies. All right, here we go.
It's like, oh, that's great. Right. The daily affirmation.
That's it on back.
All right.
Which I want to say, Ben, thank you for filling in at the last minute.
Yes.
For Mr. Harrison, who had some car issues.
It's what we do. It's what we do.
That's what we do.
Stellar.
All right, Sherry, you want to go first?
Oh, Ben, pick yours.
I got to take one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
No one.
I'll go first. I am a leader.
Do am I next?
Go ahead.
I'm next. All right. I was not made to give up.
Excellent.
Nice.
Right.
You were made to show up.
Oh, yeah.
Mine says, I am proud of myself.
Excellent.
Right.
I am proud of myself.
Steve?
I deserve to be fully loved.
Oh,
Yes,
there we
you
go. Oh, and I choose, which this is not very often, I choose to be positive.
Telling you.
All right. Now, we do these to get your mindset right and get going. Sherry, what's the next thing on our list?
Next thing on our list that we're going to take care of. I mean, once again, I want big shout out to our good friend Ricky C. Simmons. Ricky, we love you so much, and we just can't advocate this little gem right here. Ricky spoke 365 Days of Redemption. Ricky has an amazing story. You can catch him here on 93.7 The Ticket at 8 o'clock with some amazing, he always has amazing guests and amazing conversation, and it's called Get Your Happy On Hour. He wrote this book. It's just every day. It's just got little encouraging things and little spaces. I guess I should show little spaces where you can write, you can journal, and you can even write your own. But today, I'm going to read. It's day 189. We're not going by the days, but our society is broken. We spend way too much talking about our problems. Let's change the game and start talking about all the positive things in our lives. Focus on the good things in your lives instead of focusing on the bad things. Count your blessings. I threw that one in. Material things and people will bring temporary happiness. Real happiness is an inside job that starts and ends with you making the decision to be happy.
Excellent. Good job. Good job. Well, gentlemen, I'm so glad you're here today. Thank you for making the drive down from Omaha
So
this
excited to
early
have you
morning.
guys.
Just to back up a little bit, Sherry and I, we wrote this book called Next 24, Discover Your Happiness and True Joy While You Discover Your Legacy. Was written out of our own disappointments, our own pains, our own just challenges that we had throughout our life, especially during the COVID period. COVID was such a dark time, and I felt such a sense of emptiness. I think Sherry felt that way too. And as we were getting, we talked about our journey, and I know that you both of you have had quite a journey in your life. So I thought we'd start the show out today. You just tell us a little about your journey, your past, how you got to the Open Door mission. And Steve, if we can start with you.
Sure. Well, I have a long story. I'm 64, so we got
I'm right there with you.
We'll cut it down and get a few highlights here. I grew up in a family who loved Jesus, and my dad was in the service. So we back in those days, you moved a lot. So through my school years, I had 10 schools in 12 years. So I was always the new kid, and a lot of my peers in going through the Bellevue area, that's where we were quite a bit coming in and going, had the same experience. And so part of that has equipped me to make sure that people feel included and the possibility of being a part. Because I was in one place in Texas where I was the new kid that they could remember, right? So everyone had always grown up there in that town, but then there was Steve. He was the new kid, and I held that moniker for quite a long time. I saw some of the posters out here, and I think Kenny is the first guy that I can remember. Kenny and Taggy were the first guys that I can remember from Nebraska football. But we'd moved in and out of Bellevue quite often, and so I eventually came back here and got married and have three wonderful boys. And my oldest boy decided to go to into the service and was over in Iraq. And when he came back, we always told him, hey, we'll give you we'll make a transition for you when you come back. We'll move. And so he thought he was going to go either down to the University of Texas. I know that's a bad university to stay in Lincoln, but he was going to go to the University of Texas or a university up by DC to study Farsi. And so I was a pastor of a church in Glenwood. And so I said, hey, I'll just resign and we'll go and we'll move either to Texas or to Washington, D.C., whatever. So, and literally the next day he called up and said, Dad, I changed my mind. I'm going to get a classics degree from Creighton.
Oh, wow.
So I resigned from the church and it's like, well, okay, plan B here. What am I going to do? Because once you resign, you can't really stay on. That's just, it just doesn't work that way. And so I ended up at the Open Door Mission, and as part of the development team when we had our first expansion, and from on the personal side, like I said, I grew up as in a Christian family, accepted Christ when I was 12. It's been so long; it's hard to pinpoint that. But when I was just in junior high, and then it's just been an interesting journey all along where I've gone through and how I've applied that and not applied that. When my wife, she went to PA school, and then I was a software configuration manager. If anyone knows what that is, I'm sorry. It's not the most exciting job in the world, and so I had the opportunity. So I went to a wonderful school back east called Gordon Conwell, and there was a school put together with the help of Billy Graham, and it was just a wonderful school. And so I got that education, not knowing exactly what to do with it, but knowing that if I had that opportunity to be able to enrich my faith, and I wanted to do that, and I had some absolutely incredible professors.
Tell me a little bit, what inspired you to get involved with the Open Door mission when you first came across it?
Well, the idea of inclusion is really huge for me. There's plenty of people who are marginalized for a variety of reasons. Some self-imposed, some not self-imposed. But still, I know the pain very well of being on the outside. And sometimes when you have that pain and you're not able to process that or get rid of that, it makes you make stupid decisions and bad decisions, or uh, prohibits you from making good decisions. So it's not just making bad decisions. Sometimes you're just not in a place to make a good decision, and you don't know what you're doing.
Was there any pivotal moment in your life that shaped your path?
That's a good question. Any pivotal moment? I would say it's probably just the accumulation of having to start over and try to get re-included, and so part of the psychology there that happens is that you build quicker, you try to build quicker relationships than the typical person, and so sometimes that can be very awkward, and so I had to pay attention to that. So some of that is self-defeating behavior, right? You're trying to accomplish things, and people aren't ready or see you trying to go too fast, and so I think probably it's just the accumulation of that is the biggest deal. In my walk with my walk with Jesus, I had, people have a lot of different ways to come and experience Jesus and a change of life. Some people, I can remember growing up seeing Billy Graham on TV,
So did we.
and
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
big stadiums, and people go to church, and a variety of ways. When I was in college, I before that I was going around doing all the typical Christian stuff. You went to Sunday youth group, and you went to summer camp, and you just did those kinds of things. But I had a dream, and I kind of felt like John, and not knowing if I was actually there or if it was just a dream. But either way, that moment in my life really altered from going, just kind of experiencing, doing, um, not overly invested, to a person who was totally committed. And that was I had this experience where uh, Satan offered for me to come to his side, and that just scared the living daylights out of me. And from that day on, it was just like, without a doubt, the spiritual negative evil forces are out there, and they're alive and well, unfortunately. And so I chose Jesus as opposed to that way. And so that, if you're looking for that kind of a experience, that definitely was one that I had.
It's a lot about choices, isn't it? at the
Right.
time? I'll tell you, you remind me of when Sherry and I sat down to put this book together, was during the darkest times of COVID, where I just felt, you talk about Jesus and God and so forth, that there was so many people don't think about their faith and religion. They're so separated because of all the day-to-day challenges, problems that they're dealing with. They just get themselves separated. Don't you agree when you see that with many of the people that come to the mission? They're just so beat down, whatever their
Sure.
journey was, their experiences was, and then you bring them back.
Sure, you have the next 24, for the typical person who is dealing with homelessness, can't think past the next 24 hours.
That's
And
yes,
and
yes.
and a lot of times it's not even 24 hours. That would be long-term thinking,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, we have people that we have helping out in our medical clinic, and we'll have their appointments set up and all of that, and it's something that they really need and they really want, right? And so they're supposed to get on the van, say at 10 o'clock, and so somebody happens to walk by at 9:45 when they're waiting in line to get on the bus and say, "Hey, I want to go over to Casey's to get a Coke. You want to come with me? I'll buy you one." Sure. And so there they go after a Coke, as opposed to staying in line to get on the van to
Correct.
go and to get this medical problem done. And it's just that problem, and that mindset is something that keeps people stuck in the place that they are.
Yes.
And it's so very hard to get out of that mindset, because now you're asking people to take greater and greater and greater steps of faith, when alls I can think of is the next 15 minutes. And now you're asking me to think about
Yep.
eternity.
Right.
No,
Right.
amazingly, I told Sherry, and as I used to drive a city bus, and I'd experienced that, I'd pick up the same people on the route. I would deliver people to the city mission here in Lincoln,
Mhm.
and the same thing that you talk about. They can't get past the next 5 minutes where
Mhm.
they're going, and so forth. It's to observation of people's behavior
Mhm.
is really really interesting. Joel, let's pivot over to you. What were some of the what's been your story or journey?
Well, pretty much the opposite of Steve, I think. So if you just take everything he said and flip it, but
Yeah.
I don't. The COVID time, I think that's a good jumping off point, because that was for me. That was when everything was going wrong. It wasn't just me; it was a world, and everything we knew was upside down. So I was. That was pretty much the point of my life where I couldn't get past the next 5 minutes.
Mhm.
I was heavy into my addiction at the time, and the wheels had fallen off. I lost the wheels; they weren't coming back on anyway. I knew how at that point. So I grew up. I go backwards a little bit. I grew
Sure.
up. I grew up in Omaha. So my parents were together. I went to CCD on Wednesdays. So I went to public school. Went to CCD on Wednesdays. So God was in the picture for sure. Starting out pretty early. I ended up transferring to St. Joan of Arc in the 6th grade. I think because it came down to a soccer game was on a Wednesday night,
Mhm.
and my dad gave me a choice, like go to the soccer game or go to the CCD. So somehow I ended up at St. Joan of Arc. So there's another God moving me forward without me recognizing it at the time. So then I started reading the Bible in school, and I couldn't really unpack it. I remember one particular thing is when Yahweh was written on the chalkboard. I just, for some reason, I just remember that stuck. I am always stuck with me. So that so then I get into high school and I went to West Side, like Sherry did here. We talked about go
Warriors.
Warriors, baby. So I started experimenting with things pretty early on. Um, I played soccer since as I mentioned, since I was a kid, but for the most part, I kind of stopped being. I feel like I was pretty. I was a good student when I was very young, but that trailed off a little bit. The more involved in other things, extracurricular things that I got involved in, but I always kind of hung on. So I did end up graduating from Westside, and then but there were many opportunities. There was a time when I mentioned Nick Nolte earlier, but my homeroom teacher was also my English teacher, Doug Pearson. Um, Brought me in the hall one day, and it was just kind of like, this is it, man. You got to turn it around right now, because I went from B's, C's, ish
Mhm.
to D's and F's pretty quick, and so I was able to pull it together a little bit, and made it through high school, and then took a year off, worked in a car detail shop for a year, and just kind of, I don't know, figuring life out. I ended up going back to I went to UNO for a little bit, and I was a SIG up at UNO, and just things were pretty good. It seemed like I was doing okay, but underlying, going back quite a ways at this point.
Mhm.
I was drinking the whole time pretty much, and then start adding into the full. I've been playing music for a while as well. So when I was at my fraternity house actually burnt down while we were in it on a Wednesday night. There's Wednesday again, but I ended up dropping out of school, and lo and behold, I just ended up meeting these guys, and we got into this, started playing music together, and at the time, my dad was in radio. My dad Kevin um, was with Mitchell Broadcasting. He was the production director, I believe, and he got me a job as a DJ on the Edge in Omaha. So here I am working in radio. I'm working like overnights or 10 to 2 or something like that. And so this band's going. So one of our songs got onto the radio, and it kind of took off. So I ended up. Long story short, Blue Moon Ghetto was the band. We had a song called "Shine All the Time," and it ended up being a pretty big song for us. And so that ended up being a career for a while. So we toured. We played on the National Association of Campus Activities, the NACA tour, and we're sponsored by some people like Brass Buckle and Doc Martens and stuff, and some other things, and No Fear sunglasses or Spy sunglasses, No Fear clothing. So things were going well, but so unfortunately for me, um, I started getting into more hardcore things, hardcore drugs, and all the things I said I would never do. I was doing. I ended up slowly but surely that ended up controlling me, and there's so many things to unpack in the simple question of tell me
Oh, I'm
about
sure.
yourself. We were joking about that on the way down here. It's like,
Yeah.
help me, man.
Well, Joe, I'll share with you. I'm the youngest of three. My sister died at 52 due to an abusive relationship and alcohol. My brother lived to be 72, but was an alcohol his entire life. He fought it. He would say he fought demons, thoughts in his mind, so forth. Can you share just a little bit? What was it? The environment? Was it the things that you were in? And music? I know that's kind of the world music tends to be back then.
Yeah.
What was driving the addiction? do you
Sure.
think?
Well, I mean, the part, there's the part of it where I just wanted people to be happy, and I wanted to be happy myself. That's kind of, it really does. It is a selfish thing. Addictions,
Yeah.
Whereas I kind of lied to myself. I thought maybe me being up. We were talking when we were outside this morning. Ironically at 5:45 or so, what time? 6:45 in the morning. We're talking about downtown Lincoln, how there's it's kind of nobody out here, and it reminded me of being in downtown Lincoln at 6 in the morning, and
Mhm.
I drove home from Lincoln and at about, I don't know, 6 or 7 in the morning one night, and ended up sleeping at the Flying J with my
At
car
the
door
Flying
open. I
J.
passed out. So
Yeah.
you have to ask me the question again because I can.
Well, it just what in terms of the addiction, when you kind of find you're going down that path, you don't. I think a lot of people don't realize where they're going, where they're headed, what the results will be from this. What changed? I'd like to get to what changed to you. What was that moment when you said, "Hey, I got to stop. I got to
Sure.
stop doing this."
Well, okay, so there's a big section in here, but getting to the point where I moved to Arizona for a while. So there was a point where I technically tried to kill myself. I mean, about 2002, I think. And then there was this opportunity. I don't know, AOL Instant Messaging or something back then,
Mhm.
with a friend who lived in Scottsdale, Arizona. Her and her brother, who I went to high school with, lived down there. They had a condo, they had a place, and my dad lived down in Phoenix at this point. He lived on the other side in Litchfield, or maybe still Goodyear, but he ended up there. So there were a couple pieces in place for me to be able to get out of here. So I literally packed up the wagon, and my mom, I gave her a hug and said goodbye, and that was it. And I stopped in Denver, which almost took me out. So I wasn't done yet, for sure. But that there were things I was like, if I stay here, I'm going to die. So try to go somewhere else. And as you find out in this thing, it will follow you everywhere you go.
You
It's
can't
not,
run.
you
You
can't
can't
run,
run from it.
from it. from it. It's going to be everywhere. I don't know if it took, I don't know the exact time, but it was pretty quick before I found the same thing down there. Again, it's hard because you don't want to glorify it at all. Like there's so many great people in my life, so many amazing friends. Or makes me sad, but excuse me. There's good people that are stuck in this thing, and making the move to go to Arizona, I thought at the time was something that would be a game changer. Here we go, new start, right? So I did that, and it didn't work out because I wasn't done. So it took moving. It took a few pieces. Now it's always been a question of God being in my life. It's just whether or not he never left. I always look at it like there were times where it was me. He was always there, and it took the worst case scenario, the worst things to happen to me before I got it.
So what's the worst case things that happen?
So the worst case thing. So you told me in one of our Bible studies last year, I think, that he finds you when you can't find your own way out, right? So me going to jail, I ended up in jail I'd never been in my life, and then all of a sudden I was in there 3 times in a year, but that didn't even work. The first couple of times, it was just like, get out. Here I am. It was this last time. It was in November 2022, and just this situation I was in, and I ended up in there, and I was, I wanted to be done for a long time. It wasn't fun anymore. I mean, it was fun until it wasn't, and we could make it fun for a minute or two. None of us went out anymore. We weren't doing anything. Just watching us die. It was really sad. So you've got the element of all the things you thought were cool about it weren't cool anymore. So that worked out. He worked it out. So anyway, I end up in this situation where I'm in this this terrible place for the 3rd time, and it hit. He got me, and I just all of a sudden I just didn't have. This is the thing that happened is I just didn't. Not only did I not want it anymore because I didn't want it for a long time, but I didn't feel it anymore. I didn't feel like I just didn't. I didn't go through any withdrawals. I just ended up with this group of guys. We read the Bible. It was just a crazy experience. Like I ended up with Merlin Klaus and Morris Jackson and John Heatley.
Morris is amazing.
Yeah, isn't he? So just God put these pieces in my life. He hinted at it this first time I was in. Merlin Klaus was in talking to my cellie, and he just kind of said, "What's your name?" And I said, "Joel Sarah." And he said, "From Flatland?" Like, what? And I'm like, "What?" And I'm just freaked out. And he's like, "Yeah, I remember your name. Did you used to be on the something there?" And I'm like, "Well, I used to play in the worship team there." So that was the beginning. To give Flatland some much due credit, that Bart and Jen.
Flatland Church.
Yeah, Bart and Jen.
We're going to talk later.
Oh, great, awesome. Yeah. So it's amazing.
Joel, we need to stop for just a second.
Yeah,
we'll hold that thought. We'll come back. We need to take a break. We'll be right back with Open Door Mission.
You've seen them come and go. Franchise testosterone clinics that pop up and then whoosh, they're gone. These franchise clinics quickly find out it's not easy to compete with Limitless Male. Limitless is locally owned and operated with a flawless protocol that has elevated them to be the best in men's testosterone replacement and sexual performance. By adding GLP-1s, our patients are losing weight in a healthy way. To feel your optimal best, schedule a free consult at limitlessmale.com.
Ready to score big with your projects? Look no further than Edward Stone, the MVP of natural stone for over 2 decades. Edward Stone is cranking out over 30,000 square feet every week and offers a winning lineup of over 70 quality natural veneer stone selections. Their unbeatable variety and experienced team will ensure your project is a success, whether it's a home renovation or a commercial build. And hey, they're not just about stone. They've got an all-star lineup of fireplaces, cast stone, brick, and much more. Swing by one of their locations in Lincoln or Omaha today and experience the Edward Stone difference, your reliable choice for over 20 years.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $25.60 per hour, which grows to $30.12 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $34.51 per hour with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates with increased bonuses and vacations for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Are you tired of the same old entertainment options? How about something that's truly fun for both kids and adults? Nebraska Knockerball, the new place to go for your private and corporate parties. Step inside one of their inflatable spears and let out stress in a healthy form of exercise. Or try the human foosball, foot darts, yard pong, giant beer pong, basketball Connect 4, and much more. Nebraska Knockerball, specializing in physical, engaging fun. Call Nebraska Knockerball today at 402-460-8724 to learn more or book a reservation now.
Your child was embarrassed when you arrived at their basketball game. 75% of parents or guardians report current alcohol use. Drinking alcohol can cause harm to children and loved ones. By drinking less, your child will be excited to see you at their basketball game. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
A new school year is here with summer coming to an end, and it's time to get into proper shoes. Brown Shoe Fit is the place to buy this August with their sale on athletic shoes. Get $15 off any regular priced athletic shoe with respected brands like Hoka, Brooks, New Balance, and On Running. Don't forget, Browns carries a large arrangement of sizes and widths to fit your feet properly. Start the fall season off right with the August athletic shoe sale at Brown Shoe Fit, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
This is area race announcer James Rowland. Join me and Bree Fansteel every Sunday night from 7 to 8 on 93.7 The Ticket for The Finish Line, where we cover all things motorsports from local racing to racing around the world. Every Sunday night from 7 to 8 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to What's Next on 93.7 The Ticket. We're back with the Open Door Mission with Steve and Joel. Joel, let's get back to your story. It's thank you for sharing such a personal story, by the way. Go ahead and continue with where you're at.
Sure. So I guess we left off at being in jail, and Steve had asked me on the break, what it was about me that changed. And I guess it just kind of came to me. It was that I think I just accepted the Holy Spirit and was able to become vulnerable. I admit I just kind of went through the steps in my head. I just kind of had to admit that, what was my fault, and be open to whatever it took to repent in my life. So I made a decision to turn my will over to the care of God. It's no joke. That was it. And it was a sense of peace that I never felt. It was, I didn't feel the physical side effects of coming off of hardcore drugs, which you can't explain other than, than Jesus helping me out. And that was, and then of course I got put in a place where I was able to recover a little bit and read the Bible. So when it came down to I'll try to expedite here to get to the mission, which of course is the mission here. We I got out, and so I was at that crossroad. I was standing on this intersection, and I'm walking around downtown, and I'm just I couldn't remember the the password of my phone, which is just that doesn't make sense, right? And because if I did, I probably would have called, maybe, I don't know. I knew I didn't want to do it anymore, but I still had, some things to work out. But anyway, so I'd heard about the mission. I knew it was by the Mega Saver down by the airport. I didn't know anything else other than that. So I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't go there to get into a treatment program. In jail, this gentleman, Dickie Vandenberg, I believe is his name. I hope it's something like that. He would come in, and he at 50 years old, he went to the Salvation Army, and at that time, he went through the doors and said, "I'm here to help, and I need a place to stay." So I'm walking through. It starts snowing. It's December, end of December, and trying to find this place. I made the decision I was going to go there and just help out and try that thing. Try it, just give it a shot. So I end up, not finding it. The people at Mega Saver said they didn't know where it was. That's my memory at this point. I'm frozen, and I've got a staph infection going up both on my legs. So that's I'll leave it at that. And then so I kind of laid down next to a pole, actually over by the Casey's, but at that point I couldn't even talk, and I just said lay down, and I had my Bible with me from jail. And I just laid up against this pole, and I was just laying there, and my tears were frozen on my face, but I just had a sense of peace, that what changed in me was that I accepted Jesus Christ, and my life changed from there forth. So from there on, and so then I'm laying there, I see these vans pull out, and they said open door mission. So you can't really see it with the snow. It's behind a budget car rental place there, so I had no idea where it was, and I saw the van pull out, and I'm like, okay, here we go. So I got up and walked over. Like that, I kind of don't remember the I would have had to have walked past Lydia House to get to the men's center, the Garland Thompson men's center. But I do remember getting there and saying, I'm here to help, and I need a place to stay. So it's just from then on, it's
Was that a hard walk?
The physical aspect of it was probably with every step, I imagine I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? So that's the hard part.
Sure. You had a few questions to ask.
Well, your story's blowing me away. Obviously, it's very emotional. One thing that keeps coming to me the whole time you've been talking.
Hey, Sherry.
Sure.
You're talking your
Talk
mic.
in the mic.
I'm sorry. Obviously, it's an emotional story, and I just keep going back to the scripture where everybody has heard, believer or not believer, how Jesus is the good shepherd, and he has that flock, and people talk about a flock of 100. He will leave all of those 99 other sheep to search out for that one, and I really believe that that's what he did with you, and it wasn't by happenstance that you ended up at the Open Door Mission, that you ended up meeting Steve, and how this has continued to be such a successful part of your journey. Can you tell us just real quick? I mean, you went from being a resident or one of needing shelter, being homeless and needing shelter, to the position where you're at. Maybe between you and Steve, you can kind of tell us how you ended up sitting here and being an advocate for the mission.
Sure. Yeah. No. When I got in there, after I did my intake, and I got acclimated to what that meant, which Open Mission is an amazing place. It's not anything like I pictured in my mind, in the sense that it's clean. It's like there's people that care about you. There's things about God and Jesus all around on the walls and everywhere, and it was everything. There are no coincidences to what you were saying. It's like. I don't believe meeting Steve. I mean, I know meeting Steve is all a part of this. It's really comfortable feeling. But I'm just volunteering in the kitchen, helping out, folding linens and scrubs every morning. And then I met some people that were also into the Bible, so we would do like a little Bible study. We would walk around. We ended up getting a couple temp jobs and taking buses and vans to get different places. But we were sober while we were reading the Bible, and then. I'm volunteering in the kitchen, and I met a few guys that were in the program, and they were telling me about what it was and what it meant. And I'm like, you know what? Of all the times I should have done it, what's 4 months going to do? 5 months at this point. I'll give it a shot. So I applied for the program, and I continued to keep working and doing what I was doing. And then they lost my application apparently. So another week or two had went by, and I was like, well, I don't know what that means. I didn't understand any of this at the time. And then I saw Dan Kruger, the director of the men's center, and I wanted to ask him a question, because I started doing these little videos, just kind of describing what it was like. Going through what I was going through, and I asked Dan a question, because that was part of what I was doing. Was I don't know. I thought I was doing a good thing, and Dan's like, yeah, we might let's just fill it out again. So I filled it out. I got into the program, the New Life Recovery Program, the treatment program, the faith-based deal, and so I go through this program. I'm doing work duties and classes and therapy and all these amazing things that are going on, and fast forward to the end of that, I graduated, and now I'm at the point. I do have two daughters. Gracie and Emma, they're 8 and 10. And, this time around, I had to put my recovery first, because, even though my heart was in the right place for a long time, I felt it, I still needed to be off of drugs. That's just, I wanted to work there. In talking with George Akers, our discipleship leader there, I told him from pretty much middle of the program on that I kind of saw myself hopefully being there. And an opportunity arose in the kitchen. So here I had been volunteering and working there through the entire program. I had the opportunity to work in the kitchen. I applied for sous chef, and then I don't know what my actual title was. It was kitchen associate or something like that. So I ended up working there for a few months. And one day I saw Steve Frazee standing in line at lunch, and it just came to me, go talk to that guy. Yeah, Steve, and I knew Steve was. I'd been going to the Bible study that he does every Thursday night ever since I graduated the program. I think the first day after I graduated, I went to the first one, or the week after I graduated, I went to the first one. So I'm like, just ask this guy, like, what else can I do here? Is there is there a path, a direction you can put me on, if you remember that conversation? And then I just didn't know what was going to happen to that. He was very nice, and he was kind, and I just kind of went back to my deal, the grind of what I'd been doing for a while. And then I saw him a day or two or three later. I don't know how long it was. And he's like, well, there's some things, you got this opportunity, this, or I need an assistant. And I'm like, well, I want to be your assistant, I think was my exact words. And the process began in October of last year, October of 23. I moved out of the kitchen, moved into the administration office at Open Door Mission, and just met some amazing people. And I'm just kind of, doing what this guy tells me, just trying to pick up and learn. That's his best advice to me, is just learn as much as I can where I'm at. And that's what I try to do. So I just try to do the same thing I did when I got in the door, is just help out, do what's asked of me.
Well, Joel, congratulations on quite a journey.
Oh, thank you.
Quite a story.
Thanks, Mike.
I mean, this is what this is why this show is why we're here today. This was our whole purpose when we put this show. People in the community need to hear these stories, and that there is a way out. Billy Graham talks. There's a way out. There's a way.
Absolutely.
I always hear that story. Steve, real quick, if we do the time, let's pivot to the Open Door Mission.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about, for the people that don't know, can you tell us a little bit about the history of the Open Door Mission? What's its mission statement, where it's currently at, what its needs are, and where it's headed?
Sure. Well, to pivot from Joel there, 40% of our employees are program graduates. And
Wow.
so, lived experience is something that's really popular to talk about today. And we really value that. And we valued that for a long time. And that people who've walked in Joel's shoes are best equipped to be able to help people who are walking in Joel's shoes. And so it's a wonderful thing. So the mission started as 3 hots and a cots in downtown Omaha, for guys. And back when they started, I think Omaha had 12 railroads that came through. So that just shows you the time that we're celebrating our 70th year in November. And so we've translated that from going to that kind of philosophy, that kind of ministry, and then into the 80s, they wanted to have the homeless people not hanging out around the old market, and so they gave us an offer that we couldn't refuse of land and all, and they paid too much money for the building for us to to be able to move out by the airport where we're at. And unfortunately, sometimes you're out of sight, out of mind. You had the shelter down there, people saw you there. And back in that day, back in the 80s, people, the only reason why you went to the out in that part of the Omaha was to go to the airport. That pretty much still is today, but more people are going to the airport. But back then, I don't know how many people remember this, but there was a molasses a depot there.
Yes.
Oh man, coming out of the airport, man, that was the last thing you ever wanted. That was not a good sale marketing thing for Omaha. So they got rid of that and all that. And so we're out there. We're out there with a bunch of really good folks. We have the juvie place. We have work release, and we got a very large jail out there.
Hold that thought for just a moment. We need to take another break, and we'll be right back in just a moment.
The Mill Coffee and Tea, formerly with only 4 Lincoln locations, now 5 Lincoln locations. That's 25% more locations than there used to be. Can you even imagine a world where there's only 4 Lincoln Mill locations? Feels like ages ago. We were all so young then. The Mill on 11, located right alongside the 93.7 The Ticket Studios at 1040 O Street.
Hello, Charlie Stone here, and joining me is Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, I was noticing on your website you have more than 150 new 2024 and 2025 Hondas in stock right now.
Yes, we do, Charlie. It's neat when you drive by and see all the cars on our lot, and we have most all models and all different colors available, and we even have more than hundreds on the way. We also have the all-new, all-electric 2024 Honda Prologue in stock right now. We have a few of them to choose from. Plus, qualified buyers get financing from just 1.9% APR.
How about your pre-owned selection?
I talk to a lot of my customers and friends, and they still think that we just sell brand new Hondas, but we sell all different models, make of pre-owned cars, and we have more than 100 to choose from right now.
Well, maybe it's time you come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Community means something different to everyone. But for me, it means cheering on those around you during the good times and helping them out during the tough times. I'm softball player Jordy Ball, and I've been blessed with the support of my friends, family, coaches, and community throughout my life. When looking for a bank to call home, it was easy to choose Midwest Bank. I never feel like just another customer, and they're proud to support their communities. They love what they do, and it shows. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank.
Gary with Gary Michaels Clothiers Lincoln. I'm here to tell you about our custom shirt program. When you come into the store, we measure your chest, mid-waist, and sleeve length. Enter the measurements in an app, and we create your data fit size. You then try on one of our 99 data fit shirts for the proper fit. After that, pick out the fabric, collar, cuff, placket, and in roughly 2 weeks, your shirts are delivered at the same cost of buying off the rack. And by the way, the neck fits too. Gary Michaels Custom Shirts at 56th and Pine Lake Road, Lincoln.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
At Fairway Meat Market, your family. And as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now, through August 25th, enjoy 8-ounce USDA Choice New York strip steaks for $5.99 each, all natural pork belly for $2.99 per pound, all natural boneless shoulder pork roast for $1.99 per pound, and Busch Light 30 packs for $17.99 per pack if you buy 2. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning. Now in our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Attention! For a limited time, Acres is offering 1.9% for 60 months on remaining 22 and 23 John Deere combines. This extraordinary low interest rate, along with Acres' discounted pricing, allows you to upgrade your equipment before harvest and lock in incredible savings. And with Acres' A-plus support package included, you'll be up and running throughout the harvest season. Act now. This special rate won't last long. Visit acres.com for details. That's AKRS.com.
It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier Kawasaki dealership. Score up to $2,000 off the brand new Kawasaki Ridge. Built for work or play, the Kawasaki Ridge takes off-road comfort to a whole new level. Rule the streets on an Indian motorcycle with customer cash and trade-in credits up to $2,000 during the month of August. On or off-road, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered with a large selection of motorcycles and side-by-sides in stock at their new 27th and I-80 location. Hurry in, the clock is running down.
Over 75% of the patients that come to Limitless Male have been told over and over again by their primary care providers that their testosterone level is fine. Guess what? If you have all the symptoms of low testosterone, you're not fine. Come get a second opinion at Limitless Male. We have helped tens of thousands of men feel optimal again, and we can help you. Stop waiting. Come see the men's health experts. Book your free consult online at limitlessmale.com.
This is Bree Fansteel, local race car driver. Join me and James Rowland every Sunday at 7 p.m. for The Finish Line, where we discuss off-road, on-road, and sometimes next-to-the-road racing on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Good morning, guys. We are back this morning with What's Next. And our guest today we've been so excited about is Steve Frazee and Joel Casera from the Open Door Mission in Omaha. And just really quick, guys, give us a rundown of, what kind of programs that the Open Door Mission offers for people in Omaha and the surrounding areas. I'm sure you get people in from the smaller towns too.
Oh, we get people from South Dakota. We get people from various nations within the states. We get people from Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, and Kansas. And we also, literally, we have helped somebody from every continent except for one. And there's just one continent that we haven't helped. What do you think it is?
It's hard to come.
Yeah, because we don't do penguins. That's the only thing we don't do, right? So he's smarter than a fifth grader. So that's great. Our programs, are designed for people who want change, right? And we have a street ministry. Joel and I will be going out on Monday because the temperature is going to be so bad. So we'll go out, and what we do is when there's a particular need, and with the heat, we want people to stay hydrated, and we'll have some food as well. We're just going to try to connect with people to invite them to be able to come in and receive services. Part of COVID, you had mentioned a number of times, COVID is really a problematic because a lot of the folks you see out in encampments or who are asking for money or whatever, they heard that congregate living, so living together in a bunkhouse, is dangerous, and so they can't get past that. And so that's one of the things that we're trying to undo for them, is to be able to realize that you come in, we can give you help, and you can have a changed life. And so we start there, and then we start with people who aren't homeless, who are just dealing with poverty. We have 2 outreach centers in which we really are giving a lot of things away. We have food pantries and gently used items, and whether that's clothing or personal care items or furniture, we'll just give that away because people give that to us. And then if you need another level of assistance, then we have emergency shelters. So that's exactly what it says. You don't know where you're going to sleep. You need a shower. You need some food. You're going to come in. We're going to welcome you. That's what Joel was introduced to us. And so we're going to meet you there. We're going to have some case management for you, and we're going to process with you with what you want to accomplish, right? And so part of the things that we want to do is we want to make sure that you're unencumbered for success when you leave us. And so we're going to be looking, and we're going to be trying to find all the things, whether if you don't have an ID, if you come to us and you may have a bench warrant or something, or you have some other issues that you kind of divulge to us, we're going to work with you to get that taken care of. So when you leave us, there's nothing stopping you from success. Now, our goal for everybody who comes to us is to have you have permanent housing and have you have a stream of income. Now, we don't have the opportunity to make that happen all the time, not even most of the time, but we get some of the time that people are ready to work for that. Sometimes it takes one time to come visit Open Door Mission, and you got to change life. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 10. And so we're gonna keep working with you. We're going to keep encouraging you. We're going to listen to what you want. And so when Joel filled out that application, right, that's kind of a level of you want, how much do you want? You want it enough to sit down and tell us some things about you. And so our New Life Recovery Program is both a discipleship program and a recovery program. And so we have a licensed independent mental health practitioners and licensed alcohol and drug counselors. We have a discipleship counselor. We have teachers. We have a learning center. We have a free medical clinic there. And so it's very holistic kind of approach because, you come in not as a person with a particular kind of problem. You come in as a person who needs a new life. And to be able to accomplish that, if you're hungry, you're not interested in what anyone has to say. If you're full and you have a very sore foot, you don't really care about, so that whole thing is we want to be there so that you're able to process, think, and make the decision to make change. Because for Joel, how old are you, Joel?
51.
51. So we asked Joel to make a change that undid 50 years of his life. Right. So that takes a lot of effort to undo 50 years. Right.
And I think too, Steve, there's so many pieces to the Open Door Mission that just blow me out of the water. The medical aspect was huge when we toured a few weeks back. That you have that facility set in place. The other thing that I absolutely love, and it has been part of the Open Door Mission for a while, it is the Lydia House. And the Lydia House is for women and children. And so many women today are finding themselves in domestic violence situations and financial situations with the way our economy is. They have these small children. They don't have family here. They have nowhere to go. And it's that piece of the puzzle is just amazing. It gives hope, and all of these programs give hope. Can you tell us, one of you guys tell us really quick, or both of you tell us really quick, what are some of the immediate needs?
Sure. So the immediate need for the people dealing with homelessness and poverty in Omaha is affordable housing. And so Open Door Mission is in the process of, and it always is a process, right? You try to get things done sooner than you really can. But we're building 2 more buildings on our campus. We're building another permanent supportive housing building to provide permanent housing for families and ladies, along with a building that's just dedicated to men. And so that will about increase our population by 50%. So every night at Open Door Mission, we're sleeping, depending upon the time of year, we're sleeping between 525 and 600 people. So we're going to be adding about another 250 people to the campus.
Wow.
And that is in a permanent housing basis, because I've been with the mission for 14 years. And for 14 years, the Omaha has been talking about, what do you need? You need more housing. Well, we redid our campus 12 years ago, and now we're adding to it. And it's because the need is so great. And the need is for that housing that's affordable and appropriate. That's the other thing that we have to look at, is make sure that people have appropriate housing. And so those are the things that we're doing. Open Door Mission, of course, we're on the web, and we're also, if you ever need help, it's 402-422-1111. So 402-422-1111.
We need to wrap up. This is the end of the day. You've got 1 minute. This is open mic. What would you like to share with the community?
Well, first of all, thanks for having us on.
Yes.
I just wanted to, tell you guys thanks. And, the Open Door Mission is an amazing place. Candace Gregory and just the staff there and the people there. It's just don't be afraid to make the change. It's nothing like you think. I promise you, it's nothing like you think. It's great. It's everything you'll want. I promise.
Don't let your pride get in the way.
Don't let your pride get in the way. Exactly.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Steve. We're out of time. We'll be back next week.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
This is Kingdom Sports Minute with Ron Brown, the radio voice of Kingdom Sports.